What is up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and today we're reviewing Cryptosis and their debut album Bionic Swarm via Century Media Records. And hey, if you like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. Cryptosis is a brand new band based out of the Netherlands, having only begun dropping music just last year in 2020. Their take on the thrash metal sound is one that unites the raw aggression of Power Trip with the progressive influences of Dream Theater. Basically, if Power Trip wrote their own version of Master of Puppets or Rust in Peace, Bionic Swarm would be the result. I previously covered lead singles Decipher and Prospect of Immortality from their split with Vector, and I have to say that my love of these has only grown exponentially since. The former is the perfect album starter with its pure thrash aggression, chaotic tapping leads, and wall-to-wall riffs. Not to mention some very attitude-laden vocals ripe for sing-alongs. I'm such a sucker for that digital life! Decipher part you heard just a second ago. Gets me throwing up the horns every single time. And then the little classic 80s thrash falsetto vocal flourishes are always a nice touch as well. The latter track, on the other hand, features the band's more dynamic side, first with a plodding, doomy, almost industrial, chunky bass groove and bitter vocals that would be right at home on a Godflesh album. Fuck me, I want to hear Cryptosis do a cover of Like Rats. This later gives way to a more progressive landscape of shifting drum patterns, shrieking solos, and proggy, exotic-sounding guitar riffs that are brimming with atmosphere. Highly worthy of big stadium performances. It was here that I first started making those comparisons to the likes of Dream Theater. By all means, tell me they're not warranted. That surprise symphonic outro doesn't hurt either. Now from there, I wasn't exactly sure what to expect in terms of which direction the album would go as a whole. Would this second track be more of the big album epic and an outlier from the other tracks, or a prediction of what to expect in general? Fortunately, Bionic Swarm is the latter, leaning hard into the prog elements, but without being any less heavy than even Slayer's best albums. For instance, we've got Death Technology, which has verses that are straight up shredding ragers, but also a chorus and conclusion once more with riffs that feel very pure Dream Theater. Similarly, Conjuring the Egoist and Game of Souls strike an incredible balance between these elements. Sticking to the sci-fi imagery, it's like a collision of thrash and prog worlds resulting in a glorious supernova. My understanding of space isn't great, so that's probably not how any of this works, but you get the idea. In any case, more hooks for days on these, and Game of Souls in particular has another one of those irresistible scream the song title together moments. Welcome to the game of Souls! I predict catastrophic headbanging casualties. But it was Transcendence that became an easy favorite from my very first listen with its punishing gauntlet of an intro. This one is a real sprinter, featuring palm-muted tremolos that give me arthritis just listening to them. It's like he chugged a full case of Monster and then someone kept feeding him picks every few seconds as each previous one wore down to a nub. Mindscape, true to its name, is another slower, more atmospheric track like Prospect of Immortality, followed closely by the shorter but no less impressive songwriting and musicianship of Flux Divergence, the contrast of these two providing the perfect conclusion to the album. I also love how after the wild journey Cryptosis takes us on, it just so abruptly and unceremoniously ends. No big final statement, not even a fade out, just over and done. I can respect that. It's almost as if to say, we don't have to spell it out for you. The strength of the material speaks for itself. And honestly, this less is more philosophy encapsulates the album as a whole, right down to the absolutely perfect 38-minute runtime. There is not an ounce of fat on the bone, proving also that great prog songs don't always need to be 10+ minutes either. With so many 45-minute or longer thrash albums lately that always have at least some filler to kind of drag them down, it's so refreshing to finally get one that remembers that this genre tends to work best in short, concise doses. Simply put, Cryptosis are absolutely not fucking around. Especially for a debut, Bionic Swarm is a highly impressive outing that I generally would expect of a much more seasoned band. It could even go down as one of the best albums in the genre this year. All hail the new kings of modern thrash. I give Bionic Swarm a 10 for enjoyability. Rarely is an album so simultaneously expansive and dynamic while also utterly to the point. Again, every track fucking slaps. On my first few listens, I was repeatedly saying things like "fuck me" out loud in the car. I give it a 10 for musicianship, especially for thrash. This is a top tier example of what is possible within the genre. But even just as a metal album overall, the performances and songwriting are just goddamn impressive. And I give it an 8 for innovation. Despite clear influences from everything from Megadeth to Vector, this album still manages to sport a pretty individualized sound. I just can't wait to see where they go from here if this is square one. So a 9.3 overall and an A for Bionic Swarm. Get it again via Century Media Records. Y'all, thank you for watching, and let me know down in the comments, what did you think of this album? What's your favorite thrash metal album so far in 2021? And stick around, I got plenty more videos coming right after this one. More full album reviews, tier lists, interviews with bands on the podcast, you name it, we've got it, so plenty of reasons to subscribe if you've not already. Also chat with us on Discord and support on Patreon. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.